Okay, in section 14.2, we're going to look at what happens after you reject the ANOVA test. So if you reject an ANOVA test, then what you know is you know that at least one pair of means is different. But the question is, which pair is it? So what we're going to essentially do is we're going to do a series of tests that compares each mean to another mean. So you could do this by doing a bunch of different t-tests, but we're going to try to do this a little quicker using two types of tests that will test them all at the same time, called the Chaffee and the Tuckey test. So these tests basically will do the same thing. They're going to check and see if which mean is different, but they do it a little different way, and there's some different criteria for each one, so we'll kind of go through each one. The first one we'll talk about is what's called the Chaffee test, and the second is the Tuckey test. Now, the Chaffee test will test the difference between all the pairs of means if you have unequal or equal sample sizes. So this one works kind of for every test you'd ever want. It's a little more complicated computationally wise, and it's not quite as powerful as the second test we'll talk about, but pretty straightforward. So the first thing we'll do is we will find what's called the Chaffee critical value. And the Chaffee critical value is the same as the ANOVA critical value, except for we multiply it by k minus 1, where k is the number of groups. So if my ANOVA critical value was 4, and I was testing 3 means, my Chaffee critical value is going to be 8, because that would be times 2 or 3 minus 1, number of groups minus 1. Then what we'll do is we will see for each pair of means. So if there are 3 means, each pair of means would be comparing each of them to themselves. So we will calculate what's called the F-Chaffee test, F stat for the Chaffee. And it's given by this formula. And this formula looks a little crazy, but it's really not. So what you see here is you see the 2 sample means subtracted. On the bottom, you have the within group variance, and we calculated that as part of our ANOVA. Then you have plus 1 over the sample size of the first, plus 1 over the sample size of the second. And again, there is some technology that can make this a little easier for us. But for now, we'll just kind of do it algebraically. And then finally, we're going to compare each one to the critical value and see if it's significant if its stat is larger than the critical value. So if your F-Chaffee test is greater than your F critical for the Chaffee, then we'll reject, and that pair of means is significantly different. So we'll test each pair just by calculating one number and comparing it all to the same critical value. And then the trick is, once you have this, try to conclude. So if you have certain means that are different than other means, what does that all mean? So here's our first example. It says, below is data collected on how many steps it takes students to get from their car to our classroom every day. So these are 3 students who collected, admittedly, a small sample of data. And so I ran the ANOVA. So first of all, I would run an ANOVA. That's always the first step. So I would say the mean of the first group is equal to the mean of the second group is equal to the mean of the third group. And alternatively, I would say at least one pair is different. So maybe LA is more than Jennifer, not the same as Jennifer, or not the same as Ian, or Ian's not the same as Jennifer. One of those has to be the case. So first thing I'll do is I'll run my ANOVA. This is my ANOVA results I got from Sheets. And you can see the big things here. P-value, really small. The F value is definitely greater than the F critical, so we're going to reject our null. And again, a Chaffee or a Tuckey only happens when you reject the ANOVA. So if you don't reject the ANOVA, you're actually done at that point. So we know there is evidence to show at least one mean is different. Or at least one pair of means is different. And so our goal is to figure out which one that is. So all the things we'll calculate now, would look really nice in like a table or something in a thesis, so you could compare the critical value to all these different values and see what it gets. Let's look and see what happens with this first example. So the first says, let's find the critical value of the data set. Well, remember the critical value of the ANOVA test was 3.81. And so we'll multiply that by the number of groups minus 1. There were 3 means we were comparing, so that's going to be multiplied by 2, so that's going to be 7.62. So for any of these, we need the F-Chaffee stat to be bigger than 7.62. So we're just going to compare them all. So we'll do LA versus Jennifer, LA versus Ian, Ian versus Jennifer. That will compare them all. Now, if you have 4, you obviously will have more comparisons. If you have 5, even more. 6, it really gets bigger quick. So the fewer you can do, the less computation it is for sure. So if we recall, the formula is going to be x sub I bar minus x sub j bar all squared over the within group variance squared times 1 over the first sample size plus 1 over the second sample size. So in this case, the mean for LA was 734.5 minus the mean for Jennifer, which was 954.2. So just looking at this very informally, you can see that these are a pretty big difference between the means, but is the difference in those sample means enough to show a difference in their population means? Now the within group variance is going to be 5540.29. And remember, that's on the sheet's output as well. It's under within groups. 1 over our sample size for LA, which is 4, plus Jennifer, which is 5. So obviously, if you're putting this in a graphing calculator or something, make sure you get an extra set of parentheses around that bottom. So when I put all this in, I get 19.36. You can obviously calculate it, see if that works. Now that is bigger than 7.62, so we're going to reject this pair, so they are significantly different. So the population means for number of steps taken by LA and Jennifer are significantly different. Okay, let's look at LA versus Ian. So their means are closer together, so we'll see if we get the same result. So we have the first mean, so we'll do LA first, which is 734.5, minus Ian, which is 762, all squared, over the within group variance, times their 1 over their sample sizes. So when I put this in, I only get 0.35, so very, very small value. So this is going to be a fail to reject, so there's no evidence of a significant difference. Again, just remember when it means to fail to reject, it still could be there, we just don't have evidence of it. Okay, as for Ian and Jennifer, we'll do the same thing. We'll see if they reject. So Jennifer, and it doesn't really matter which one comes first. I'll put Jennifer first. 954.2 minus 762 squared, all over 5540.29 times 1 over 5 plus 1 over 7. So if I've done this correctly, I get 19.45. So that is another reject. So this pair of means is also significantly different. So now here's what we have to conclude. So what we know is we know LA and Jennifer are significantly different. And we know Ian and Jennifer are significantly different. So what the common factor in those is obviously Jennifer, and it looks like she is bigger than the other two. So this one is obviously works out really nice. So I would say there is evidence that Jennifer takes more steps, takes significantly more steps than anyone else. Now, I will warn you, this is really nice and clean where one is bigger than the other two. There are cases where just one of these reject and you can only see one pair reject. So if you're looking at like an enclosure study and you have 7 zones, you might find that zone 2 is used more than zone 7, but that's all you really know. Nothing else is really disseminated through our statistical testing. So sometimes it works out really nice where you have one or a couple that are at the top and a couple at the bottom. It could be a hierarchy, one through whatever, but sometimes it's just a single pair, and that's just how it works out, unfortunately. Okay, let's look at our second test, which is the Tuckey test. Now, unfortunately for the Tuckey test, to find the critical value, we need another chart, and I've posted a link to the chart on Classroom, but it's used what's called the Tuckey critical value chart. And you need 2 things. You need the number of groups, and the number of groups on here is sometimes also called the number of treatments. And then your other degree of freedom, which is sometimes called the error term, is the number of total terms, big N, so you'll add up each group all together, minus K, which is the number of treatments. So it's very similar to the Chaffee test. We'll have this critical value, and then we will find the Q stat. Q is the one for Tuckey, for each pair of means. And you can see that it is x bar I minus x bar j. So you subtract the 2 means, divided by the square root of within group variance over n. So not only is this a slightly more powerful test, but it is a much easier formula. But the problem is you have to have the equal sample sizes. So if each one of your groups has the same number of data pieces in it, I would suggest you go with this one. If not, you pretty much are relegated to going with the Chaffee or one of the other tests that we don't really cover. So once we have the Q stat and the Q critical, we will reject, same rate, but in this case we reject if the absolute value of Q is greater than Q critical. So a little different in this case. You have to take the absolute value because we really don't take the sign into consideration, because if one is bigger, it's positive. If the other one is bigger, it's negative. So let's look at some data about some contra-feeding items for a moose. So I collected data on 3 different enrichment items for our moose, a water bottle, a box of Lucky Charms, and we wrapped in seaweed. So first thing again, run your full ANOVA like we did last time. We have our means. We have our ANOVA, which our F is this, and our F critical is this, so we definitely reject the ANOVA. There's our within group variance, so that's always very important. That's always going to be an issue because that is our SW, or within group variance squared. So once you have this, we'll find the critical value, we'll plug in these formulas 3 times, and we'll figure out which ones reject. All right, first of all, the critical value. So the Q critical from the chart is 3.67. And again, that's at an alpha of equals 0.05. And so what I did is I just looked for 2 for the number of treatments and 15 for the error term, because there's 18 total data pieces minus 3 groups, and I get 3.67. Now, we'll look at that more in the second video when I have the chart pulled up, but for now, that's what it's going to be. So now we'll go ahead and we will figure out our Tuckey stats. So remember, the Tuckey stats are x sub I bar minus x sub j bar over the square root of the within group variance squared over the square root of n. So for water versus charms, that's going to be 4.6 minus 8.83 divided by the within group variance, or square root of the within group variance, 7.68, divided by 6, because there's 6 in each sample. So that's going to give me negative 3.74. So that would reject, because our critical value is only 3.67. Remember, we take that in absolute value. So they are significantly different. So water and charms are significantly different in the number of minutes the moose spends with them. So now we'll go with water and seaweed. So water and seaweed will be 4.6 minus 3.67 divided by the square root of 7.68 over 6. And water versus seaweed is only going to be 0.822. So that's going to fail to reject. So there's no evidence of a significant difference there. And finally, we'll look at the charms versus seaweed. So the charms versus seaweed is going to be 8.83 minus 3.67. And you pretty much know this one is going to reject as well because this is going to be bigger than the first one. The difference in the bottom is the same. And it becomes 4.56. So we can reject those as being significantly different as well. So now the hardest part is we have to figure out what our conclusion is. So what we see is that waters rejects with charms and charms rejects with seaweed. So the common factor of both of those is charms. And charms as a sample mean is bigger than the other two. So again, this is a nice clean conclusion. We could say there is evidence that charms is used significantly more than the other items. So again, these were very, very straightforward. The biggest mean was bigger than the other two. Doesn't always work out that way, but when it does, it's really nice. So try some of the practice problems, look at your data, see what you can do with it, and obviously let me know if you have any questions.